Okay, good evening, everyone. This is the June 25th, 2024 meeting of the Trumbull Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock and ask for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag, whoops, of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Got a little cut off. Okay, Barbara, could you do the roll call, please?
Yes, Kathy is late. Laurel Anderson.
Here.
Sarah Flieger.
Here.
Charlene Peterson.
Here.
Maureen Anderson. Maureen is there. I see her.
Maureen Bova.
Maureen Bova. Oh my gosh. Maureen Bova. You're there too.
Thanks, Barbara. Here.
You're there too.
Okay. Do you have everyone else recorded, Barbara?
Is Dawn there somewhere?
Oh, I guess so. I see a hand.
Here.
And I don't think
Okay.
Jason's not coming, correct?
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Correct. I
I'll
remember
watch.
a previous email.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 24th board meeting, please?
Charlene moves.
Can I?
Second.
Sarah, second.
Thank
Okay.
you, Sarah. Seconds, Barbara.
Laurel, can I make one amendment to the minutes? Are you doing May 28th?
May 24th.
Oh, okay, maybe I have it, okay. Never mind.
That's what's on the agenda.
Okay.
Is it not the 24th?
28th. I have the 28th.
Yeah, it should be May 28th.
Okay.
Okay.
Under Jackie, it says Assistant Property Manager. I believe Jackie's the property manager. We just need to take off the assistants and then just put her as property manager, please. That's the only
Okay.
amendment I have. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion or changes? Barbara, could you make us, could you do a friendly amendment to your motion to make it May 28th? Unless you said May 28th.
Yes, okay.
I'm sorry, Charlene, did you say the 25th or the 28th?
28th, I thought.
Okay, good. Okay, then you don't need to amend. Okay. Great. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none. All those voting in the affirmative to accept? Aye.
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 There's no one here to vote negative or to abstain. Okay. Thank you. Public comments, there are two people. If members of the public would like to discuss anything in front of the board, Bill, could you let them know how they need to do that?
Sure. If you're on the Zoom app, you can press the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. If you're on the phone, you may press *9. And it does not appear that anyone wishes to come in at this time.
Okay, great. Thank you. The report of the Director of Finance, please.
Good evening. I want to report that we're still waiting to hear from the attorney in regards to the tenant selection plan and the new lease for the congregate. Hopefully we'll have those soon.
Dawn, can I stop you? I'm sorry. Can I stop you for 1 second? I don't know if everybody else, but I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
Where's the?
No, everybody else can hear her okay? All right. Let me just put my sound up higher. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
And we also wanted to thank Barbara Crandall for stopping by the congregate. They all enjoyed seeing Barbara. There was a lot of happy people that day that she stopped by for lunch. So thank you for coming back, Barbara. Jackie and I and Ann are all working on an application for Stern Village and Congregate. Right now we have a pre-application that's kind of a very basic one that everybody would fill out. And then as they come available to fill out, the next step would be a full application, because sometimes it's a year or so between the pre-application and application. And we need new bank statements, so we figured we'd have them do that once instead of having them do it 2 or 3 times. And I've been working with Ann at the Congregate. We've been working on work orders, supplies, and trying to get her comfortable. And I think things are working out very well. And it's been a pleasure to have her on board with all of us.
Thank you.
And that's it. If there's any questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Report on the congregate. Ann?
Thank you. The most exciting update that I have to tell you about Life at the Congregate is our beautiful new walkway and sidewalk. I kid you not, it looks like the Hollywood Walk of Fame without the movie star's hands. We're considering, just Maureen and I, having a grand opening, you know, cut the ribbon and all that. So on to the more mundane updates. Our occupancy is at 94.44%. We have 2 units available. Our work orders, as Don said, we've been working on them. In the last month, we closed 24, so we have 4 open. One of my responsibilities is to come up with activities for the group there. And in doing that, I'm trying to get to know everybody, their quirks, their likes, their dislikes, seeing what might work for them. So the possible activities that I'm thinking of at this point, at the very beginning, is maybe a game night, game afternoon, book club, once a month birthday celebrations, weekday cookout with Tony Castle Entertainment, a Spanish afternoon with fiesta, Spanish music and food, ice cream social, afternoon tea in the dining room with a sing-along, songs suggested in advance by tenants. And if necessary, I could provide the music, or I could play the music. I play piano, banjo, and ukulele.
Multi-talented.
One-man bands. Yeah, and I have cymbals, you know.
One-man band.
But it's a work in progress, getting to know everyone, and it's been eye-opening and a pleasure. And I couldn't have done it without Paulette, Jackie, and Dawn. Lisa. Oh, Lisa, I'm sorry. Sorry, Lisa.
It's all right.
So I just want to show really fast so everybody can see that's the sidewalk there.
We are so pleased with
So
it.
pleased.
Pictures of all the way around.
I was gonna tell you, bring in some men for those
Nicely done. Nice.
as an activity.
Is it concrete?
Yes.
Yes,
Looks beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
job they're doing in all that heat. They
Yeah.
still continue to work.
Yes.
It's been difficult for the residents because it means they have to walk around the building for
Right.
safety. So that's been a challenge, and for the aides and all those folks, yeah. And finding the right smoking areas.
But it's great.
It's working, yeah, it's
working,
beautiful,
yeah.
absolutely beautiful.
You did a good job.
Well, okay, any other comments or questions? No? Okay, thank you. Report of the resident service coordinator.
Hello, everyone. I just have a few things. The Live Well workshop began on June 20th, and it was from 2 to 4 p.m. We had 18 people signed up. There were 8 in attendance. I believe the low attendance was probably due to the heat wave, but we're expecting more on this Thursday. The mobile food pantry was held on June 6th, and there were approximately 7 people that were served. The next mobile food pantry is scheduled for July 11th. We have 109 people now signed up for it. I think the low attendance was because it was torrential rain that day. So those do have an impact. Weather and different things have an impact on, people's ability to come out. On July 12th, we have Karen and Richard King. They'll be conducting a presentation on caring for your garden and how it affects pollination. On July 16th, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield will be conducting a presentation on the plans that they sell. On July 19th, the Authentic Home Care will be having a luncheon / presentation discussing the different types of in-home care and how to actually connect with in-home care. Dawn, I can never pronounce her last name, will be conducting some cooking classes on how to cook for one person, and that date is to be determined, but we announced it at the residents meeting, and everybody seemed to be excited about that. So far, residents are coming in to inquire about benefits, application assistance, redeterminations, and in-home services. We're finding more people on property that need in-home services, so trying to work with them to get them on services if they qualify. And the Senior Paul Project, I'm trying to schedule a meeting for July to get that to start to go into place. And that's my report.
Okay, any questions? Okay, Lisa, thank you.
Thank you.
Report of the property manager.
Good evening. So I'm reporting today on how many units we have available. So right now we're occupied at 90%. We're unoccupied at 9.14. We have currently 17 units that are open. 6 of them are under contract, but 3 of them are done. So we just met with the contractor for the first 3, and everything was finalized. So then it's all up to our guys to go in there and clean out, and then we should be housing people second week of July. Then the 3 that they're working on currently, they're doing a great job. They already have the floors down, the bathroom, shower stalls and all that. They did the plumbing work today, so it's coming along really great. We have 2 lease signings for July, so on the 1st and on the 15th. And then we have 7 left for our maintenance crew to rehab, painting, very basic stuff right now. There's about 3 or 4 that need a little bit more work, so they're gonna have to do some flooring put down, some changing of toilets, retiling and those apartments. But other than that, it isn't major work that has to get done. Now to our work orders, we've closed in the last month 98 work orders. And it's mostly due to, different things that come about, heat pumps, getting them turned on, making sure that our tenants know how to use them and things like that, especially for our newcomers. So very small work orders, but they have been completed. Currently, through 2023 up until now, we have 37 open, and then from January 2024 up until now, there's 20. So we're on the right track of things and closing those out, especially since the inspection of last October. Then our new wait list, we're gonna, as I mentioned, we're gonna start interviewing people the second week of July. So we're just finalizing, like Dawn mentioned a little bit earlier, the application process and getting all those papers printed, making sure the checklist work, and everything kind of matches what we've put in place. A lot of the things that we're doing this time around, we've adapted from other housing authorities, and really having great communication with them and networking and getting to know their process so we can also adapt to that. So it's been working pretty well. So we're at our last stages, so that way we can start housing people. And then if everyone goes on the website, everything is updated. So all of the current wait list people are on there. And then at the bottom, it's the new wait list. So everybody can go on, see what their lottery number is and see where we are with things. So we're hoping we're getting a lot of calls about, hey, when are you starting the house? Because, they know that there's some units because they have buddies around here. So we're just trying to make sure that we finalize that process and make sure that it works for everybody. And that's my report.
I have a question on the ones that are being rehabbed now by the company. When are those due to be done?
So I've been in contact with the contractor, and he's hoping by end of week of next week. They're doing plumbing work now. And like I mentioned, the floor is done, the painting's done, the shower stalls are already installed. And most of the supplies already has come in because I've been walking to every unit just seeing where things are. So he's hoping that by next week, everything should be finalized.
Well, if we have enough people on the waiting list that we could get in, is it worth having that company do some of the ones that you said had slightly more than the regular stuff to be done, do a reduced price, obviously, because it would just be a few things, but.
Yeah, so I think it's just, we would have to talk about budgets and run that by Paulette and see if there's enough money in the budget to go ahead. We've had discussions with the contractor about like, how about a bathroom here and a floor here? And he was up to it and said, you just let me know and we'll give you a day. But it's just putting all of those things in place with the funds and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Jackie,
Oh, go ahead, Charlene.
the 7 that our folks need to do, what's the time frame for completion on those? Any idea?
So right now, I've been talking with Renee, and because of the work orders that they're trying to finalize, a lot of the project work orders, like some tiles that need to be redone, some painting, the heat pumps and all that stuff, they're getting back into getting into units. So right now they're in 2 units.
Okay.
And one of them should be done by end of week next week.
Okay.
That one had a little bit more. She was in there for a really long time. But they did finish one out from last month to this month. But then we had someone unfortunately pass away. So that brought our number back up to 17.
Okay.
So, it kind of fluctuates. And then we have another person that's leaving us at the end of June. So we're going to be at 18 at the end of the month. So it kind of fluctuates, but he's going based on what can be done the fastest. So if it's painting and cleaning, those are the ones that are being prioritized. And he's working with me to be able to do that. So that way I know where they are at all times.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, I spoke with Jason concerning the 3 final Hiller is doing now, and he should be at a close, like Jackie said, by next week. But the thing is, we ran out of money to do anything else. And I think that's where Jason will come in to see what else we can do to retrieve money to finish up those apartments that don't need that much work to do or a little work to do. So I guess when Jason is, his turn to talk about that. Right, Jason?
Well, I can talk whenever, but hi all.
Hiya.
So Jackie, were those 7, because I think it was 7 last month as well that maintenance was working on. Is that the same 7?
Yeah, the same 7. They've been doing a lot of outside work right now. And like I said, the project stuff that they've been going on. One project took about 3 days for one guy to do. And then our other maintenance men were closing out some of these work orders because I've been adamant about the project work orders that have been open since last year and getting those up to par and closed out. So we've been really focusing on that right now, but then we kind of switch gears so that way we can start housing people because we have people to house now, right? Because the wait list has gone out. So my goal is to be able to house as many people in July as possible. So I'm hoping and working with Renee and having those kinds of conversations to turn things around, to start focusing on apartments and some of the contracts that are coming in, to help with outside work and stuff like that will also help our guys prioritize in apartments moving forward.
Okay. Did you have cost overruns on the 3 that they're doing now?
No, I don't believe. No,
No change
Nope.
orders?
no,
Okay.
nothing.
Yeah.
So Jason, since you're here, I believe we authorized 3 expenditures from the reserves, the 25,000, that initial, and then the 6 apartments renovation for Hiller, right?
Mhm.
So that's it. We have none of that reimbursement money left.
Well, you still have the final 3, right? That hasn't been done.
No, they're working on it now. It should be finished soon.
That's what I'm talking about. So we basically, we authorized 3 withdrawals of funds. The 2 contracts for the 6 total apartments
Right.
and the 25,000.
Right.
So with those 3 expenditures, there's nothing left from
There's about 17,000 left.
there's 17,000 left.
There will be. That's why I paused, because there's technically 130,000 in the account because we haven't paid on those second
Right.
3 yet. That's why I wanted to make sure I understood what 3 we were talking about, and,
Okay,
It's the
so yes,
last,
there would be
the last
17.
three.
Sorry.
okay. So, just speaking for myself, I can't think of better use for that 17,000 than, to your point, Sarah, to get
Right,
as many of those remaining 7 that our maintenance guys don't seem to have time because of other,
Right.
requirements. I would like to offer a motion that we permit staff to expend that money on those remaining 7, or as many of the remaining 7 apartment renovations, which are more minor. I mean, I'm sure you'll do, you'll do what's best.
yes.
I have faith in your judgment on this, but I think it would behoove us
Yeah.
to certainly do the low hanging fruit. And if you can get 6 of them done, because there's only minor painting, or there's, and then the 7th one is holy smoke, then in the new year, we'll try to figure out a way of,
And Laurel, just to clarify, that's using outside contractors, correct?
Correct.
I just don't think your guys can.
No.
They just don't have the time they're trying to do the regular,
Exactly.
the maintenance stuff that I don't think they have the time to do those rehabs.
Oh,
Does
Kathy, I'm sorry.
authorizing overtime for them help us at all?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
Does authorizing overtime for them help us at all?
Not really,
Okay.
not really. The problem is, many of the residents, they do not, claim when there's a problem. They wait till it's a crisis. Because Renee was at one unit, for 3 days because her shower kit, the tiles were coming off. And she knew of this, but she did not tell maintenance or the office. So therefore, he had to fix the whole shower. He had to take everything out the shower. He had to fix everything. He had to cut the water off. Because Miss Bova said her water was shut off, so we had to put the water back on. Right, Maureen? And so therefore, that took 3 days for him to fix. Now we have major clogs, since last Friday until Sunday. So Jason, when you see that huge bill from A&B, it was a huge clog because the tree roots are in the main line. And so therefore things are not going through. So now there was A&B came back today. They had to put a camera down in the toilet or maybe in the shower drainage line of one resident's apartment to see what was the problem. Now, whether or not it was fixed or not, I don't know, because I have been out since Monday, but I've been called, or Renee called me this morning reference to it. So that's why the maintenance guys can't do all that they can do, because it's just too many issues and they have to be there to fix it. So therefore, I think if we can get Hiller to take care of those rehabs of those units, I think that'd be great.
I will second Laurel's.
Actually, Sarah, on retrospect, I'm going to withdraw my original motion.
Oh,
I'm going to revise it to say the remaining balance of after the 3 projects are finished that we've already approved can be used to rehab any of the remaining 7 units. Sorry, Barbara, did you get that? Don't ask me to repeat it.
perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Then I will second that. Yeah.
If I may, I'll add on to that, or to a similar note, is you are budgeting to basically beginning in July, and I think it's looking like it's definitely going to get there, to have money you're going to have to spend and put towards reserves and capital projects anyways. So that might end up being able to be tacked on to the 17 if you need to, bridge to get to all 7 type of thing. Just for the board's note, I mean, I don't know that necessarily that you need to vote on that, but to your point, and I think Sarah made a good point, that it's probably the best use of those funds, right?
Yes.
Okay. Kathy, can I finish the vote? Okay. Any further discussion?
No.
No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, passed, Barbara. Kathy, I give you back the con.
Thank you, and thank you for doing that. You know, when you're 15 years old and you're supposed to be at practice, and grandma forgot about you. So, thank you. We up to the treasurer's report? Okay.
Excuse me. For the 11th month period ending May 31 to 2024, the authority had an operating gain before capital activity and depreciation of $72,897, of which $68,149 is attributable to Stern Village and $4,748 to Congregate. For Stern Village, operating results have been consistent throughout the year. Annual revenues are close to budgeted amounts, despite an overall 10% vacancy rate, or twice the budgeted amount. There were no significant changes to the property's overall operating expenses, with maintenance supplies, office expense, IT, and then property insurance continuing as the primary cost overruns for the year. For Congregate, operating results dipped slightly from the prior month due to the annual elevator contract, which is incurred in May of each year. As expected, elevator contract cost is now over budget for the year due to service calls earlier in the year. Otherwise, legal costs continue to be the primary reason for not meeting surplus goals. Congregate is still expected to finish with an overall surplus this year. You see the tenant accounts receivable, the balance is below, much better than in previous months. Not that many late ones. And the overall cash position of the authority, including reserves, is $1,029,250. A snapshot of program balances are as follows, and as you can see below. Then you have a schedule of operating cash activity for the period, the beginning flow, and both programs have improved cash position since the beginning of the year, and funds remain within cash management level. Village cash is being monitored through June, but should still not be at risk of surplus cash at year end. And that's the report. Thank you.
Any questions for Jason on the financial report?
I just want to make sure, Jason, so far through May, we're negative 37,000 in terms of excess cash.
Not generated, but as of a position, yes.
Okay, so
You're right.
unless things really turn around in June,
Right.
somehow there is no way we're going to have excess cash that we need to give back.
Right, I was being ultra conservative, and we decided not to pay that Congregate in June, just in case. But again, for that amount, I don't see how it was even possible. I'm sorry, the opposite. Congregate not pay Village.
Right, no, I understood what you meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll probably just pay it in July, but
Okay.
because they have the funds, so.
Because if we actually have to spend excess cash, we don't have many days left to do it.
Right. But to that point is you started the year much further in the hole, so to speak, right? So you've actually made up on that number. And I think as we've been saying in our budget, and I think it's going to be realized that you're going to have to actually have these good and harder decisions of saying, we got to spend this money. Which honestly is a good thing, obviously, but, and we know, I think we know where that money should be dedicated to, so. Good problem to have. One other thing, and I'm gonna admit this, even though at the risk of nobody noticing, that reserve number is incorrect, the $1 million in cash. Just FYI, it's 955,371. I don't know how this version got out, but that's not the right number.
And one other question, it looks like the congregate reserves went up slightly. Is that actually due to us putting money into that account, or is that a bookkeeping thing, or?
It's just interest.
Oh, it's just interest.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you gonna be able to put any money into reserves?
Yeah, so what I'd like to do, and we spoke on this maybe 2 times ago, but the fact, oh no, when we were having our budget meeting, that you have a large chunk of funds that are gonna be sitting there and technically due back to DOH, but you might as well invest them, type of thing. I don't know, your hesitation there is, I don't know if you remember that, but it was about $30,000. You
That
could
we
very
need
well,
that is excess cash?
those are unearned grant proceeds
Oh,
that will eventually be due back to DOH. What they'll end up doing is shorting you subsidy, but that's not gonna happen for probably another 2 years.
Okay.
So they're not gonna require you to set it aside, but it's money that you probably shouldn't spend anyways, right? And if you
So-
have it, you might as well earn some interest on it.
so will it look better to the state if we put that 30,000 into reserves?
It's misleading, I'd say. That's the only reason I haven't done it yet, honestly, because I don't want to arbitrarily look like you set aside $36,000 in funds. That is your target. That's your target number, honestly. And then apply for grants or whatever, and then realize, oh, sorry, that 36,000 is really funds that are going to be recouped by a funding. So
Okay.
I have this difficult, and I talked to Paulette, it's been a while ago now, but on saying, hey, we have to decide if the interest is worth it. I guess the lack of clarity, right? If we report anything to the state and it shows like you have reserves that really aren't yours, do you follow me? It just makes it doesn't do you any good, other than the interest it gives you. That's the only good it gives you.
We know absolutely, we owe the state $36,000.
Until the audit certifies it, which is why there's a delay, we don't know the exact amount. I will know what we're going to present to the auditors once the year end closes. We don't know until year end closes. We won't know till the end of July, the absolute number.
Okay, so at that point, should we not book something on the balance sheet as a liability to them? What I don't want to have happen in 2 years, in 12 months, is the state comes back to us and just use 36,000, and they say, hey, congregate, you owe the state a refund of $36,000. And my best guess is, guess where that $36,000 is going to come from?
Right.
Yes, Maureen.
I will say I'm ahead of you there because we do defer the revenue ongoing as an estimate. So it's already part of your liabilities. You'll
Okay.
see it in the deferrals if you were to look at the congregate's balance sheet. The
Okay.
number's a lot higher now because it'll go down next month or June. So I have it, well, we won't get into the numbers, I guess.
Okay, I just sort of, again, if anybody's taking a look at the CNA for the village, I would really prefer that the village not have to lay out $36,000 to congregate for congregate to pay a debt. The congregate has the money for right now. So I don't know, I don't want to belabor it. I'm just saying, could we try to think of a way to avoid having the village have to pay in the long run, to have to pay that money? When, if you take a look at the CNA for the village, the first year expenses are fairly enormous. Okay, it's just my thought.
Yeah, one of the immediate things we can do, just as a quick thing, is how we track excess cash for village is to add that monthly for congregate as well, just to show that the cash isn't really yours, right? That there is a liability offsetting that $90,000 that's sitting there.
Okay.
You
Because
know what
that
I
does
mean?
look like a very, like, wow, that looks huge. But if you think a third of that is not really ours.
Right. The reason I haven't done that in the past is it kind of varies month to month, and I don't want to get people, because since you don't get paid monthly, like on the first month of the quarter, everything looks great. There's less liability, and then it starts getting worse and worse. It's like somebody did something wrong, and no, that's just the cash flow of it, right?
Yeah.
But we could do it. It just would vary month to month.
Okay. Let's just figure out a way going forward how to kind of protect the village.
Yep, makes sense.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, we can move on to the executive director's report.
Good evening, everyone. The emergency CNA application for the congregate was submitted to Penny, CHFA, and then she submitted to Kim Black. So she will review and hopefully she will approve the grant for us. So hopefully we can start that by I said by September 1st. To have the emergency and the fire panels revised and work in good order. So I will keep you posted on that. The landscaping for the village will start tomorrow. This would give the maintenance guys more time to rehab the easy apartments, attend to the work orders and I guess even critical work orders as well. The tree specialist will be here on Friday, on the 28th. We have a few trees that's hanging over the units, so he'll be here to take care of that. As discussed, Hiller's progress is awesome. It's coming to, and I'm happy with that. So we can start the new wait list to start renting. I attended the June 20th Connecticut pay leave training. It was very complex to say the least. But I do have slides for me to refer back and to give me some more education about the Connecticut paid leave. And Jackie and we're preparing for Trumbull Day this Saturday. Kathy, what time do we have to be there to set up?
Are you coming Friday and Saturday?
This Saturday.
Just Saturday.
Mhm.
I would say come around 11.
Okay.
So you can set up and get your car off the,
Uh-huh.
you come that early, you can drive onto the field.
Okay.
To set up your tent and your table and everything.
Do we have the same area like last year? Are we next to Laurel again?
No. I have a lot more tents this year.
Oh, okay.
You're next to the Yale Infant Mind and Cognition Lab and next to the Healing Touch Chiropractic.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're kind of behind Laurel, but off a little bit to the side.
Okay. All right. So
I
we'll
have
be
the
there.
map, they'll get you there.
Okay, so we'll be there to set up on Saturday. And that's it.
So you're just coming Saturday. That's good to know.
Paulette, was the rest of the board in on the email about the paid family leave change?
Let me see. I don't think so because
No, Charlene's shaking her head.
no, you know why? Because I got that email from Chris from his office. That's where I got it from. But I can send the slides to you all that was emailed to me. Yeah, Chris is the one who sent the email to me.
So the housing authorities used to be exempt from being part of the Connecticut paid family leave program. Those of you who are getting a paycheck and not working for a housing authority already get a, what is it, 1.5% or something withheld, or is it 0.5%?
It's 0.5%, yes.
That goes into this program.
Right.
From which you can draw money in lieu of your paycheck.
Right.
And our employees were never, housing authorities were excluded from the program basically, or not forced to be part of it. And the legislature changed the law.
Yeah.
And so housing authorities are now do fall under the program. So that's why Paulette had to go to find out more about it and how she has to implement it.
Mhm.
But if we go back when we had an issue with family leave, wasn't it that if there were less than a certain number of employees?
Yes, less
you
than
were
50.
not- Okay, so
Yes.
did that change as well?
Everything has changed. They have another FMLA. I think it's called the Connecticut FMLA. So there's two. They tried to explain, but a lot of people were asking questions because all this is new to them. And so therefore they sent, because they didn't want to spend much time because it was only an hour training. So that's why they sent the slides for us to refer to go back. Because it was the next training is August the 15th. So if you want me to send that to you, the board, but it's August the 15th is the next training.
And with my clients that I have, I mean, the payroll service that they have kind of takes care of it all. I haven't really had to do anything with it.
Yeah, and I didn't want to butt in, but yeah, so there shouldn't be any kind of burden other than a setup burden for the housing authority of just registering with the state. Once you're registered and we get it set up with ADP, they'll take care of it. It shouldn't be a problem. Other than maybe for Paulette's position, knowing a little bit of background in case she gets the questions from
Yeah.
staff, and God forbid they, ask or want to use it or
Sure.
need it. That she should have some. I mean, she can't be expected to be an expert, obviously. But at least know where to point people is probably, the least amount of what she should be able to do.
Right. And I just, on Thursday, when I come back, to work, myself, Renee and Jackie will be attending a training that's called Dealing with Challenging People and Situations. It's from 9 from 9 to 12:30. So, in Wallingford, and the Trust Insurance Company is, sponsoring it. So we're going to Wallingford on Thursday at 9 a.m. for this wonderful training.
That's so you can learn how to deal with your board,
Yes. So we look forward to it.
All right. Things are basically quiet up there, is it?
Oh, yes, it's quiet. It's quiet at the congregate as well. I had to
Good.
go up there last week. It's very quiet.
Okay. That's good. Quiet is good.
Yes, it is.
Okay, anyone have any questions for Paulette? We good? Okay, I have nothing under new business unless somebody wants to bring some new business to the table. And under old business, the only thing that I know we haven't done, and we've talked about it, was to have somebody come and speak to the CNA for Stern. So if we could do that do we have an August meeting?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Darn, everybody else gets off in August. If we could have somebody come and be ready to discuss the CNA with us in August, that would be great.
Okay, I can get Matt to come, so I'll contact Matt and see is he available for the August board meeting. I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Just let me know.
Madam
Laura?
Chair, hi. So if I remember correctly, Maureen, I think you were certainly on the board then. When we had the review with Harriet for the congregate CNA,
Yes.
I think it was a pretty rushed affair because it was part of the board meeting.
Yeah, actually, I was just gonna say that, and seeing as the village is so much bigger, I don't know whether he's not gonna be, he'll take up the whole board meeting.
Yes.
You want to do a
What
separate
has to be
meeting?
done to the village.
Yeah,
I think. I don't think it would be more than an hour, to be quite honest with you, but I think it will be a full hour.
Yeah, it will most definitely be, and it'll just be concentrating on the CNA for the village.
So do we want a second August
Yeah,
meeting?
I would say a separate meeting with us, with the CNA, with Matt. Not have it be part of the board
Right.
meeting where
Okay.
residents listen and all that. No. It should be a separate meeting. I don't know, that's up to you.
No, I'm just thinking, I hate to drag people out twice in August, a lot of vacation time. Do we want to do from 5 to 6? Just a meeting on the CNA?
That'd
and
be
then
fine. I mean,
Do
if
our regular meeting at 6
you mean
o'clock?
before the regular meeting, I'm sure. But I think you got to devote, I mean, what I'm trying to say is we can't have treasury report, this report, that report, and then have him do a CNA.
So if we tell him 5 to 6,
Yeah.
Okay,
and then we
Mhm.
start our regular meeting at 6.
okay,
It's
Thank
still
you.
it's still a public meeting. From
No,
5 to 6.
Yeah, I mean, have it, call it whatever you want. Just have it separate from all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Madam Chair, as old business, I also, from the last minutes, we pushed a discussion of the security deposits for the congregate to this meeting, so Jason could weigh in.
You know, when I was doing the agenda, I said, what did we do? I couldn't remember what we did, but that makes sense. Jason was missing.
right.
But
Why
we
am I-
no, we had renewed our conversation about having a security deposit for the congregate. And some of us recollected that you had said there's an issue with separating it, and we wanted to review what you had said.
Yeah, and I guess I would say my point of view, and I'm kind of a hard person on this, is I think it's irrelevant if the tenants can afford. I think it's a business decision. However, I don't know about the demand at congregate in general, and I think that's where the staff comes in. If you have a hard time finding people, then this could actually be a detriment, especially to the ones that you really want to serve, which is the lower income ones. And I think that's kind of where we got stuck last time, right? This probably is easiest on the ones that pay full. It's easier administratively for us, for the ones that pay full, because we know exactly what it is. It's the ones that don't, that A, you're kind of pushing to the side, and B, what are you getting? $136 or whatever it is. You know, because it can only be their rental portion.
Right.
So that was kind of my point. I mean, obviously, or that is my position, that it's I would say the biggest onerous is what's the demand now? Do you have a problem? I mean, right now you have an ongoing open wait list, right? Because I'm assuming because there isn't huge demand for the property in general. Not that you have a ton of hardship finding, but it's not like the village. But again, I don't quite know if that's just a personal preference and you've never opened it up the same way, or you just kind of, you know, Daisy just maintained it as like a, you know, as they come in type thing. So that would be my biggest concern, if it's going to turn away potentials. And, you know, there it's an onerous on getting people in, right? And then because again, subsidy is going to cover no matter what, it's piece. So that was the only point there. I don't know if that point changes. I think originally if I recall correctly, the question was on if that's going to be an undue burden to those residents that already have to pay a very large percent of their income to live there. Again, I think the other side that I think the board should be evaluating is if that's going to hurt your demand for those units. I mean, certainly we can do it. Certainly we can calculate it. Obviously, the financial side of it is $200 is better than nothing type of thing. The max would be what, $490 now, or is it 500? I forget which. I think it's 500.
No, it's 560. Isn't 5?
590.
590.
590. Oh, geez.
Uh-huh.
Which I guess is about the same as the village is, right? And the village, I would say for the village, it's been a success. Because while you haven't had to utilize it, there's a substantial amount in the account. So I suspect, and you will say, there's a couple that had to be given back, but for the most part,
Right.
on the ones that have left, they forfeited their security deposits. It hasn't been a lot, honestly. It's only been like 3 or 4 people total.
Right.
So
37 units as compared to the village, 36.
Right.
So to have an account for just 36 units, we put it all in one. We put it in with the village. You have to keep- that's what I thought. So for 36 units, you have to keep everything separate.
Yes.
$200, yes, is better than none, but I think more to your point, how many pay full rent over there? That could afford, all right, they're paying 1,400, they have to give us $1,400 security?
No,
590.
590. It's the core services,
All right.
590.
So they'd have to.
Yes. I think it's a good idea because sometimes the tenants who have been living at the congregate for a long period of time, it's gonna cause more work for the maintenance to get the apartment rehab. Sometimes you may have a few angry tenants who may have to leave, whatever reason, eviction, whatever the case may be. They may have some damages there. So instead of Trumbull Housing coming out of pocket to pay for it, I think having a security deposit would be great. Because, this is a business. Any way you look at it, the thing, it is a business, and some congregate, I don't know whether or not they pay deposit, security deposit, I don't know. But I think that Trumbull Housing should start that because if there's any damages, therefore we can pay for it.
Yep, I'll say most don't. I actually don't know if any do, but I will say, and this might be part of it, is there's a constant demand. They don't have a problem keeping people in, at least that I've seen, right? And obviously everything ebbs and flows. I can't speak for a certainty of all cases. I just wanted to bring that point up, that's all. That I think more than whether or not the residents can afford, because again, it's a business, is whether or not you're gonna have vacancy issues because you're turning away residents that refuse to pay on top of the 1,450 or whatever it is now, sorry, the 590, which you could, so you can't discriminate, you can't charge some and not the others,
Right.
but you can't put them on payment plans. You can give them a year to pay. Again, I don't, I prefer not to do that because it's more work, but it's not really.
True.
I
How
probably
is
shouldn't be a good reason either.
I
How is
prefer
our
no.
wait list?
I prefer no payment plan because sometimes they tend to forget because I'm doing payment plans right now for people who are
Right.
delinquent in their rent. So when you do a payment plan, they tend to get lax with that. So I'm with Jason, just do it all the way and that's it. 590 and that's one clean shot.
But again, just to obviously, if they pay less than 590,
Right.
whatever they move in, if their initial rent is 400, that's the
Right.
max of their
That's correct.
deposit. Even if it goes up later, I mean, theoretically, there's some rules where you can increase it, but most wouldn't bother with that.
Right.
It's just the 400.
So this would only be for new incoming tenants, right?
Right.
Is there any time when those security deposits would actually be refunded? In other words, is it that you move out and there's any kind of painting or whatever that needs to be done and we keep it? Or is it there's truly huge damage and we keep it? Or you move out and you owe us a month's rent, so we keep it? Or is it just you're going to pay us that security deposit and there's no way you're ever getting it back?
In the lease, it states that security deposits cannot be used for paying for rent. So we can't do that. That's in the lease.
Well, I think you want that because you don't want people just skimping on their last month rent And then you look at the unit and now your security deposit's already been used because they didn't pay rent. So you always want to put that in the lease and force that last month be paid anyways.
Okay, but I think in the congregate in particular, there very frequently, it seems that people are moving into a nursing home.
Yes.
And then if we don't catch that money
Mhm.
before they go on Medicaid,
Yes,
we never get our rent.
that's correct.
So, I mean, is that money then in the security deposit technically going to be used to reimburse rent that we didn't get paid? I mean, how are you going to book that? Is that going to be rent, or is that going to be because you have to renovate to get a new tenant in?
Well, it would be very similar to the village. Should be no different really, except for the complexities that you have to ignore the services part. Because and maybe that's part of your point, is if they owe you money, you're entitled to take that as part of the settlement of the security deposit disposition. So you inspect the unit, you charge them a fee if there's damages,
Right.
and you settle. Now, if they owe you, that doesn't mean because they owe you services, you can't collect that. I don't know if that's where you were going. You can. Right? Even if it's not going to cover everything, you can.
Okay. So Paulette, would you then use the same wording in the congregate lease as you're now using in the village lease?
Well, I checked with an attorney, Attorney Kravis, reference to, because one tenant, he's deceased. And the family right now are just, fighting, had not paid the June rent. Okay, so, and he died before, well, actually, he lived through June 1st. And he passed on June 7th. So the thing is, they were aware that he was going to pass on soon. So I was trying to say, if you were in charge paying for his rent, should have paid it on June 1st. So what I did, I checked with Attorney Kravis, and she said that we cannot use the security deposit for the rent. So right now, they may have to go to probate for us to collect that rent. So that's where we are right now. It's unfortunate, but that's where we are right now. And it's in the lease. It's right in the lease. Security deposit cannot be used for rent.
But we will keep it and use it for rehabbing.
Yes, yes. And and Laura made a good point, with the congregate, they go to the nursing home and they don't return. And so the thing is, I didn't want another charge off for one particular resident because he owed at the time over $6,000. I did collect every last dime of that money and plus the month of June. Because I can't see us charging off and what's going to happen. He's going to stay in a nursing home. And so what's going on. So the thing is, I collected that money from the fiance and so that we have all that money from him. So whether or not he's coming back or not, I don't know. But I did explain to her that we need the July rent money as well because his belongings are still there and he is still a tenant at Stern Village. So hopefully we get that money too. And the thing is, you hate to sound, cruel, lack for a better word, but the thing is, this is a business. And the thing is, if you have your belongings there, you're still a tenant. So therefore you still owe rent. And I explained that to her and it went like yes or no, but she gave me the money anyway, even the late fee. So I did well. So she's up to date. Well, he's up to date with his rent. And I do understand what Laura's saying, because we're doing too many charge-offs at the congregate.
Do we want to make a decision on this tonight?
I think that we should because I don't think our decision is going to be different from today or next week or next month. I think we should just go ahead and make the decision tonight.
And Jordan, Yeah, hello, that's my nephew.
Yeah.
Jason, you don't need to open a bank account for each individual at the congregate for their security deposit, right?
Correct. You know,
Okay. I seem to
Theoretically, I can
remember a couple of
commingle
years
it.
ago that was an issue.
Yeah, I mean, they used to require that, but they have since gotten rid of that. Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll jump in.
You're opposed, right?
What's that?
Jason, you are opposed to.
No, I just want to make sure that management and the board is evaluating whether or not this is going to affect getting people into the units.
Okay, so my question was, how is our wait list for the congregate? Are we full? And do we have difficulty filling an apartment once it's empty?
So I could talk about that for a little while, just because I took over for a little bit. Right now we have 2 vacancies at the congregate, and we have 26 people that are active on our wait list. So we did talk about opening and closing our wait list for next year, the way we've done here at Stern Village. However, I haven't seen any challenges currently housing people. The only challenge with a few families were that their mom or their dad or uncle, whatever it happened, was in a rehab, and they thought that it was going to be a little while more before they can come out and come to a place so they can have, but it was unexpected that they had to deny the apartment because of how small it was, and then also because the person wasn't ready to move into independent living at that moment. So those were the only 2 no's that I had in the last like 3 or 4 months that I had like taken over the congregate wait list. But other than that, I will be working with Anne to go through the wait list. And I did also at the beginning of the year did an annual check-in with all of the tenants or applicants that were on our wait list, asking if they were still wanting housing, if they were still interested in coming to the congregate. And most of the conversations I had was yes, but when. So, you know, because people were ready to sign leases in other places and, you know, they wanted me to jump list. And I was like, no, I'm just asking, as we're supposed to do this annually and check in with you guys. So most of the conversations were that they were still interested. So it's just now Ann and I working on getting through that application, or the applicants, and calling them and seeing where we are. So we haven't had, right at this moment, any significant challenges housing people at the congregate.
Okay,
Great.
that makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, I would agree. And again, I suspect the biggest challenge is just that, you know, they don't want the unit, not that, you know, they went from 400 to doubling that. But again, you never know. But I'm pleasantly surprised with the 26, because I recall it was like, you know, 3 back in the
Yeah,
day.
so as the applications have been coming in, I've been updating and making sure that, you know, the applications are in, and the people get their lottery number and their letters and all that stuff. So as soon as they come in, I put them on the wait list. I have 4 pending right now to put on our wait list, so it'll take us up until 30. I guess is the math, right? But I'm working with Anne so that way she understands that process and how to put people into the system. So that way, when she does get an application, she can do that. And then Dawn and I were talking about possibly closing out the wait list, like putting a close at that, and then reopening and marketing and doing all that for next year. So.
Laurel, do you want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll be the bad guy. I make a motion that we authorize staff to start a security deposit policy at the congregate, starting only for new incoming tenants.
Charlene seconds.
She's joined you, Laurel.
I know, we're going straight to you know where. And it's not Norway.
No, I have to keep repeating what Paulette says, that this is a business and you've got to run it as a business. I would think if we found we've suddenly had people flying off the wait list because they couldn't or wouldn't pay a security deposit, we'd have to rethink, our decision.
Yep.
All right, any further discussion on it?
Are we gonna ask for a security deposit from the congregants? A full month's rent, partial, so much percent?
It's the core services, so it'd be $590.
Okay.
But
It
for
may,
some
it
others,
may be less than that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's by Connecticut law, it is the first month's, it's 1 month rent is the
Mhm.
most you can charge an elderly resident. The difference with congregate is that rent is a sub piece of what they pay.
Right.
So it's just a little nuance, but the verbiage is the same. First month's rent.
Mhm.
okay. Anybody else?
Oh, 1 month. Sorry.
All right, all in favor of this motion, please say aye.
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 Could you half a hand? I gather that was unanimous. Okay. All right, public comments. Do we have anybody at the beginning? No. Do we have anybody on, Bill, that you can see?
Yeah, there's still a few people on. If anyone would like to make a comment, please press the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen or press star 9 if you're on the phone.
Okay,
Doesn't appear that anyone has anything to say.
I will close public comments. I will need a motion to move into an executive session to discuss a union issue that needs negotiation.
Sarah, I'll do that.
Charlene seconds.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It would include Paulette, commissioners,
Jason?
Jason. You need anybody else?
I don't know if I have that invite, Bill.
You don't, because
No, we had to, yeah.
I haven't made it.
None of us.
Oh, okay.
I don't have it either, Bill.
I'm working on it.
Going to
Yeah,
keep you
yeah.
on.
He has to send it to us. Then we
Okay.
have to leave this meeting, then we have to go into the new one, then we
Right.
have to leave the new one and go back in here to
Right.
adjourn.
Right.
I will,
Bill, just for Maureen, can you send it to me so I can get her on?
I'm sending it to everybody.
Okay, thanks.
did somebody second it?
We have second, did anyone prove it? Like,
We
Approve the
voted
motion.
we voted to approve the motion, right?
Yes.
okay,
All right.
oh, and then it's.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I'll just give you the adjournment. That's why I left it for the
Okay.
end.
I'll just be in my little room next door.
Barbara's gonna make it on time for her next meeting.
Copy, paste. All right, it is on the way.
Okay.
All right, so leave this one. And hopefully I'll meet you on the other side.
Me and you both, Kathy. Okay, here goes.
Sorry, Charlene, you're yawning.
No, coughing. I was coughing.
Oh, okay. I'm apologizing. It's a late meeting tonight.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Am I missing anybody?
No.
No.
Nope, Paulette's up there. Okay. All right. Laurel?
Madam Chair, I report from the executive meeting we just held that the board declines to act on the request made to the board.
Word from executive, I have to take notes for Barbara.
Oh,
Word
okay.
From executive session. That the board declines to act.
On the request, yeah.
On the request, right.
Declines to act on the request. Okay. And that does not need a vote. That is just a report.
Right.
Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Charlene makes a motion to adjourn.
I'm sorry, Charlene, I almost took away your privilege.
Yeah.
And a second?
Under.
Maureen did a second.
Okay. All right, everybody.
There's no meeting in July.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we
yeah,
missed
right.
the July meeting. Okay.
Right.
Oh, everybody enjoy your summer.
Yes.
Happy
Yeah.
Trumbull Day.
All right. See you in August. See you on Trumbull Day. Take